UFC Edmonton just wrapped up. I ended up going 9 for 12 on my picks, and what a performance from Brandon Moreno. He put it on Amir Albazi, absolutely whooped him up 50-45, bloodied his face up, and actually looked a lot better than I expected, even though I did pick him, as well as some robberies, man. One specific robbery in the Garrett Armfield Surrey City that I caught the tail end of again, just like fucking 308. But I want to say I appreciate all the support recently, man. It means a lot. Shout out to the predictions tracker. He's helped me a lot. I wish I could, personally thank him, but I do not know his name. But I do appreciate what he's done because it has tremendously helped me. But yeah, man. Without further ado, man, I'm going to get right into the recap. Cody Gibson wins unanimous decision versus Chad Annahelger. Bro, that was a clean sweep. I told you guys, I might be able to go hop in the octagon and go get a fight versus Chad, and I might be able to put some work in, win around. But, yeah, Cody, that was light work, man. Absolutely light work. I actually did get his number at minus 150 last week. I put like $30 on it. I wasn't really like going crazy with it, but it's a good win for him, man. His wrestling looked on point, just following Chad wherever it went, scrambling. Great performance from him, man. He is 37. He probably doesn't have a very bright future in the sport, but look, the guy's a pretty fun fighter, and he's a good fighter. I knew coming into this, man, when you look at the who they fought, man. Come on, Miles Johns and Brad Katona are much, much better than who Chad Annahelger has fought. And he really showed the levels there, man, because he beat the hell out of Chad. It was a masterful performance from Cody Gibson. I expected that kind of, I just don't think Chad's great. And I knew Cody Gibson, he's a dog, man. He's always going to come forward and put that pressure on you and wrestle. He wrestled great, man. He's looking like a future top 15 prospect, maybe a title challenger one day. But yeah, man, he's a good fighter nonetheless. And, very good performance from him. Surrey City beats Garrett Armfield to a decision, as you guys know. I did pick Garrett Armfield, and he got the bad end of that. Let's be honest here, man. This judging has been very, very frustrating. It's really, really hard for me to see two of those rounds given to City. I just can't see it, man. Very frustrating. City's a good guy. He came out and said that he thought he lost the fight. He did lose the fucking fight. It was pretty bad, man. It was almost like I've been catching the bad end of these. I want to get one on my end, right? The Liao fight last week, and then now this, both bad robberies, and I've caught the tail end of it, man. I picked Garrett Armfield to win that fight. He won that fight. He clearly won round 3 on every scorecard, as he should have. The other rounds, I scored it a 30-27. That's me personally, okay? Maybe I could have thrown in some bias there, but I feel like the round 2 is very clear. Okay, I did think the round 2, the harder shots, more landed shots, and maybe you could say the body language towards the end of that fight or towards the second round kind of gave, like in that second round, in the end of the second round, he was tagging Armfield up a little bit. But other than that, man, those 4 minutes were just pure Armfield. Stiff jabs. You saw the damage on the face, man. It's hard for me to sit here and tell you that Surrey City won that fight. And I've been catching the bad end of these, man. It's been fucking annoying. Very annoying. Okay, and I'm sick of it happening to me. Okay, I want to get a lucky, decision go my way. But yeah, that one sucked. Honestly, guys, it sucked. I really did. I picked Garrett. Not a lot of people picked him. I bet on him. It sucks, bro. That was a pretty brutal one. I did think, it's hard for me to see. Like I think City landed some nice shots in there. I'm not gonna lie. The first and second round, although I do think they were close, it's hard for me to sit here and tell you that City won both those rounds. I just don't think so, okay? Maybe he won the first. Like I said, I scored at 30-27. The submission temp, great. But overall, who landed the more strikes? Who landed the harder strikes? Did more damage? Now that I'm thinking about it, it wasn't that close, okay? Garrett Armfield won that fight. And it kind of pisses me off, man. I spend a lot of time. I put good effort into it. I pick an underdog. And he should have won the fucking fight. So, yeah, man, that's a good win for Garrett Armfield. We'll see what's next for him. As for Surrey City, man, he'll bounce back. He's a pretty good fighter, but, good win for Garrett Armfield. Alexander Romanov gets the unanimous decision win versus Rodrigo Nascimento. He's coming for that belt, man. Tom Aspinall, you better be aware. It's a tough matchup for Tom, stylistic-wise, by the way. But, man, Romanov was looking good in there, okay? He was looking good. He got to that clinch, got that takedown. And, man, Nascimento is some butt, bro. I don't know how people could have bet on him. Like, when you look at it, I guess if you want to say, oh, Romanov gasses, but there's nothing that Rodrigo Nascimento does well. Like, he doesn't do anything good. He's legit complete trash can, horrible fighter. But like when you look at Romanov, like, he's strong. Okay, he's got good grappling, he's got good wrestling. He can control you, and he's strong, and that's what kind of led me to pick him. I know he's had the tendency to gas out, but I almost felt like, what the fuck is Rodrigo Nascimento going to do? How is he going to finish Alexander Romanov? You know what I mean? He has no power. He has no submission ability. I mean, I guess he has submission ability. I think he has a couple subs, but how's he going to get Romanov to the ground? I just don't see that. And on the feet, the dude, I mean, I could probably go in there and take some shots from him. I don't think he hits hard at all. And he was getting Alexander Romanov was landing the better shots too, which is kind of crazy. But yeah, man, good win for that man Romanov. I did pick him to win this fight via decision. I just Nascimento is so bad. I just can't pick him. I don't think I picked him ever. I will never pick him probably unless he's fighting Jake Collier or some can. But that's a good win for Romanov, man. I know his contract went out. I'm hoping that he, gets re-signed. He's a fun fighter. With very good skills, and he's looking a little bit better on the scale, I guess. I mean, he lost a little bit of weight, but he's still fat. His stomach was gouged over his pants. But yeah, good win for that man, Alexander Romanov. Yusuf Zalal gets a second round submission over Jack Shore. Really impressive finish, man. Honestly, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I did think Jack Shore won the first round. It was close, but I did think Shore won the first, and I was kind of like, damn, why did I not just pick Shore? Because I did talk about in my prediction video that he's kind of being, overlooked in this matchup. I think if he offensive, wrestles, he can have success, and he was finding the mark with the hands a little bit, getting Zalal to think about that takedown, and Yusuf Zalal caught him with a beautiful knee. It was just a perfect timing, and the dude's a real problem. He really is. I think we kind of saw some holes in his game a little bit, if you know what I mean. I don't think he likes that pressure. If you're going to mix in that wrestling, it gets him thinking a little bit, which I think some people might be able to take advantage of. I mean, I think the dude's a pretty good fighter. I don't think he'll ever be a top 5 guy by any means, or, maybe he gets to the top 10, but other than that, that's a great performance. So I'm not going to take anything away. I'm kind of a hater a little bit because I like Jarno Aarons, and he kind of just beat the hell out of Jarno Aarons, and Jarno Aarons is a fun fighter, and he beat him in the last one. But look, man, Yusuf Zalal, he's a good fighter. I thought he looked good. That knee was beautiful, man. It was a great shot. Dropped him clean, and then got to I believe it was an arm triangle. Yeah, it was an arm triangle. Nice finish, man. Submitting Jack Shore is, I don't care who you are. That's a very good, win to have, is submitting Jack Shore. He's not an easy guy to submit. He's not an easy guy to be finished. I don't know if he's been finished. Oh yeah, he did get arm triangled, I think, by Ricky Simone, if I'm not mistaken. Then he got finished by Brito, which doesn't count because that was just one of the stupidest stoppages I've ever seen. But as for Jack Shore, man, he's just got this little gut a little bit. He needs to just build some muscle there. I don't think he's working as hard. Maybe someone will reach out to him and let him know, bro, you've lost 3 fights in a row. You got to get this shit back. But yeah, man, Yusuf Zalal, that's a good win for him, man. I can't lie. We'll see this guy probably in the rankings, but I'm trying to think of a good matchup for him. Maybe they'll do something like Ige or someone right outside there. We'll see what happens, but a very, very impressive win from Yusuf Zalal. Charles Jourdain gets the finish over Victor Henry. Nice submission. Very good performance, man. I was really impressed with Jourdain. Guys, I'm not going to lie to you. It's hard to pick a fight when someone's moving up and down weight classes. It's just, you don't really know, man. It's so difficult to pick a fight. But I got my pick wrong. I'm not going to lie. It is what it is. But Jourdain was looking really good. He really did look good at 35. I think he's got a good future there, man. He does. That submission was nasty. And on the feet, he was looking really good. Victor Henry's no slouch. He's a guy who's right outside. He's probably in the 20 to 25 range of the bantamweight division. So that's a very impressive win to have. And Victor Henry's only lost one fight in the UFC to Rafael Assunção. It's a very good win, actually. And he's finished him too. I don't think Victor Henry's been finished. So that was a very impressive win from Jourdain. He looked fantastic on the feet. He looked fast. I was very impressed. I got my pick wrong, but look, I have nothing else to say. A very, very impressive performance from Jourdain. Moving off angles beautifully, high kicks. Everything was clicking for Jourdain tonight, and he looked really, really good. I was very impressed, and, I think we'll see a better version of him at 35. He was good at 45, a little bit undersized, and I should have known that coming in. That's kind of on me. But, there were times Victor Henry looked good. I think if he would have grappled a little bit more, he probably would have had more success. And I think if he would have gotten out of that second round, he probably could have gone back to the takedowns and maybe got himself a decision. But I can't take anything away from Jourdain because he, like I said, man, he looked really good in that fight. I mean, fast. Striking was good. His angles looked great. His footwork looked great. He really did look good. And I got to give credit where credit is due, and a very good win for Charles Jourdain. Ayman Zahabi beats the hell out of Pedro Munoz, and I'm shocked, okay? You guys know I talked shit about Zahabi. I never thought he was that good. He put on one hell of a performance and one hell of a beating on Pedro Munoz. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of people do that to Munoz. Really, I'm honest, being honest here. Marlon Vera, lost a round in that fight and did not, do as good as Zahabi did. Zahabi, man, he looked really fucking good. I can't even, I don't want to say the guy's good because he's got such a weird style, but his timing is really what gets people. It's very good. His timing is fantastic. He was landing a lot of hard shots. He really put it on Munoz, and another fight where I'm like, damn, I'm impressed because I was on the verge of picking Munoz, and I would have been completely wrong because, Zahabi put that shit on him real bad, man. It was a very impressive performance, and Zahabi's, 36 years old, but dude, he won't be taken down. His defense is really good. He's barely getting hit. But man, I don't know what else to say. I was, dissing Zahabi and saying he's not good. And I still don't think, he's anything special, but that was a pretty crazy performance from him. He put that shit on Pedro Munoz, beat the hell out of him. Really did. He really beat him bad, man. Like I said, I haven't seen anybody do that to Munoz. Landed a ton of shots, and his timing, it's really good. And that's what won him this fight. He put it on him, man. I was, thoroughly impressed with his performance. And I guess I got to stop, hating on him because he's a pretty good fighter, man. His boxing's really good. And I was very impressed with him. Good win for him. I got my pick right. I was about to go Munoz, and that would have been a disaster because he got fucking killed. But yeah, man, great win for Ayman Zahabi. I haven't seen, anybody put it on him like that. So yeah, good win. Mike Malott gets the decision win over Trevin Giles. A pretty good win, man. He had that footwork was fucking Trevin Giles up. The switching stances, Trevin couldn't get anything going. And I did pick Mike Malott, but I did think that, Trevin was going to get the better of him on the feet. And that wasn't the case, really. I thought we'd see more exchanges in the fight. Didn't really happen. But overall, man, I was pretty impressed with Mike Malott. I thought his game plan was perfect. Kick Giles, keep switching stances, give him different looks. And, he brought out the kicking game and looked good. I mean, he pretty much won that fight. I did think it was a 29-28. I thought the second round went to Giles, but the activity from Giles wasn't great. I think it's just that fear of the guy's been knocked out so many times. I mean, he's got the skill set to be a good fighter. He's just chinny. I don't know what to say. He leaves himself in bad positions. And he kind of felt probably like if he got in an exchange, he was going to get knocked out. Because Mike Malott does, he does have kind of some power in his hands, but a pretty good win for Mike Malott. Get him back on the right track. I mean, he's nothing, special at welterweight. I still think, he's probably a 20 to 30 guy. Maybe he cracks the top 15. But he had his opportunity at Magny and sold the bag there. But a good win for Mike Malott, and we'll see what's next for the guy. Dustin Stoltzfus knocks out Marc-Andre Barrieu. Whew. Man, that was a hefty right hook from Stoltzfus. And I did kind of, go into Stoltzfus, he's a bit stupid. And I thought that Marc-Andre would get the better of him when it was on the feet and at range. I did think Marc-Andre was a little bit better there. But I did actually talk about Dustin Stoltzfus, and he does have some power, and he put Marc-Andre out cold. And Marc-Andre, looking back at it, he just got knocked out by Joe Pyfer real bad, and got knocked out again by Dustin Stoltzfus. That might be the end for Marc-Andre Barrieu, man. He was at times looking good, but he didn't really get it going on the feet. You know what I mean? He got taken down, controlled. He got back up and immediately was in that clinch. And I, honestly, looking back at it, I should have picked Stoltzfus because I talked about his power, but I didn't think he was as good of a striker. He's still not as good of a striker. It's just in that close areas, you don't have to be a good striker. You could just, throw bombs, and, he got caught. I do think if that fight's at range, Marc-Andre would get the better of him, but it wasn't. And the wrestling got going, and Stoltzfus put him out cold, and a good win, man. I can't lie. That was a very good win. I hesitated on Stoltzfus a little bit because Bruno Ferreira literally 5 months ago fractured his face with a spinning elbow. So it wasn't long ago. And he kind of rushed back into this fight, but he looked good, man. He did. And it's a good win and a crazy knockout. I mean, he's out cold. And Stoltzfus, man, he's looking like a pretty good fighter, fun fighter. He's a fun fighter. He does throw hard, but he's not the best best skill set. He's a fun fighter. I'm still not sure why this was on the main card, but a good win for Dustin Stoltzfus and a hell of a finish from him. Jasmine Jasdavicius gets the submission win over Ariana Lipski, and man, the striking in the first round wasn't looking great. Looked like her head was anchored to something because when she was throwing punches, it did not move a bit, and she's just getting tagged up. Yeah, I'm glad she got those takedowns because I was going to be a little upset with her if she would have lost. She's had a massive grappling advantage. I knew that going in, and she did not shoot a takedown in the first, and I was getting a little bit worried. And that's a good win, a nice arm triangle submission. It was a Darce, I think. I'm sorry. I love to see that. She got on the mic and said my balls were hot. Oh, bro, it was a hard walk. I was just like cringing, man. It was bad to watch. I don't think I'll ever pick her ever again in her career. I believe she's, pushing 40 years old as well. So we'll see what's next for her. I mean, she's fringe on the top 15, top 10. She'll, maybe have a couple more fights in the organization, drop 3 in a row, and go to WWE or something like that. Actually, she's not even a big enough name for that. But nonetheless, man, a good win for Jasmine, and I'm glad I got my pick right. Brenson Ribeiro beats Caio Machado in probably the worst fight I've ever seen in my life. I mean, I talked about it before. Why the hell is this on the main card? It was the featured fight. I don't really understand. First of all, none of them are Canadian, okay? I guess, Caio Machado represents Canada. I don't fucking know. But nonetheless, man, atrocious fight, atrocious matchmaking. Caio Machado's out here tiptoeing, acting like a Taekwondo fighter on the outside. And Brenson Ribeiro's little pea-head brain doesn't understand how to cut the cage off. Not a thought going on behind those eyes, man. He doesn't even know what's happening, bro. He didn't have any IQ to just cut the cage off the right way. He just kept walking around. Just an atrocious fight. I did pick Brenson to win, but I expected a little bit more. Maybe, I guess, I did I bet on him to get a KO plus 400. And I was actually very, very confident in that. I was really, really confident he would get the KO because I've seen Caio Machado go out there and slug with people. Dontel Mays dropped him. Sorry. Dontel Mays dropped him real bad, and Brenson Ribeiro's fast and he hits hard. And there were times in that fight where he did, crack the chin of Caio Machado and hurt him. But overall, man, just a disgrace to the UFC, disgrace to the Canadian fans. They can't get a good card, man. I mean, the card wasn't that bad. It was pretty bad, but I just like that fight being a featured fight, man. That fight shouldn't even be in that's like a Bellator prelim fight, literally. Like that fight was so fucking bad, man. But I guess good win for Brenson Ribeiro. We'll see what's next for Brenson Ribeiro. Erin Blanchfield gets the unanimous decision win, man. Pretty impressive performance, coming back from a 2-0 deficit. She was, it wasn't looking good. I was, heavily concerned. It wasn't looking good, or it wasn't looking bad. It was looking horrible. Looks like nothing improved on the feet, but the pressure got to it. You saw in the third round, Rose shot a takedown. For some reason, I think it was because of that pressure so much. And that kind of, figured out, Erin Blanchfield figured it out. Okay. And it's a great win for Erin Blanchfield. I don't think she deserves a title shot. You got Manon there. She's going to deserve that shot versus Valentina. She's been waiting. She's very much deserves it. And we'll see what's next for Erin. But I do want to say it was a hell of a comeback, man. Down 2-0, come back like that. Rose kind of just gave up a little bit, I want to say. Pat Barry's going to punish her real bad for that one. But yeah, man, good win for Erin Blanchfield. And, see if they do that Grasso fight. Pretty interesting. I think Grasso would probably smoke her, but we'll see what happens. But good win for Erin Blanchfield. Brandon Moreno. What an impressive performance from Brandon Moreno. Absolutely beat the hell out of Amir Albazi. I did pick Brandon Moreno, and I said the striking was going to be very evident, but I did not expect Brandon Moreno to come out and look like that. he really did look fantastic. I mean, everything was clicking. It was a complete ass whooping for Amir Albazi. And, you got to feel for Albazi. He's coming off, a heart surgery, tough circumstances, man. Come back and fight Brandon Moreno after, a year and a half off is not something easy to do. And you could kind of tell he didn't really look that good. I do think Moreno was, levels above him. And I was kind of surprised to see this line at what it was, but I think it was kind of the recency bias of how bad Moreno looked against Roy Valley. Really looked like shit, and turned around, and man, the dude looked good. But there is something about Moreno. He makes this stupid fucking face, and I can't stand it. It just makes me a little mad. But the dude's an incredible fighter. I have to give him that. He can come out there and get it done. He's given tough fights to everybody, and always shows up and gives an entertaining fight. So I do have a lot of respect for Brandon Moreno, and that is a fantastic win. I mean, Amir Albazi, while I never thought that high of him, he is a good fighter, and he wasn't able to get the takedowns going and on the feet. It was a complete mismatch, man. It was bad. I kind of want to know what's next for Moreno, because there's not much at the moment. I think probably the only thing you could do is Kai Kara France rematch, because guys, honestly, like, if you think about it, Roy Val deserves that shot again. He's come out and he's beat Moreno after, as well as beating Tatsuro Taira. Both were split decisions, but man, you can't deny that he probably is going to get that shot again. But I do think, honestly, I'd probably rather see a Moreno Pantoja 3. I think it would be. I think it's more than that, because that would be a hell of a fight again. I mean, if you guys remember, for all you little casual little UFC MMA TikTok fans, if you remember that first fight, or I'm sorry, the title fight between Pantoja and Moreno, hell of a fight. Absolutely hell of a fight. And I won a lot of money that night. But yeah, that was one of the best fights ever. I mean, seriously, in flyweight history, absolute barn burner, fantastic fight. I remember that fight so clearly. But yeah, that's for all you little TikTok kids out there that think, Pantoja's boring. But yeah, man, I was thoroughly impressed with Moreno. Like, honestly, if you would have asked me if he would have won a 50-45 decision, I would have been surprised, because I really didn't think he was going to put it on him like that. But I did think he'd win the fight. I did say 49-46, and I think he got one scorecard 49-46. But that was a hell of a fight, a hell of a performance from Brandon Moreno, and I would not be surprised, like, if they kind of skip the line and give it to Pantoja. They could do Kai Kara France Moreno too. I mean, flyweight's just like that. It is what it is. But undeniably, man, fantastic performance from Brandon Moreno. We'll see what's next for the guy, and yeah.